Welcome to the Kackbrat Chronicles.
Okay, there we go. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Mr. Martin Brons, welcome to the Kackbrat Chronicles.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's interesting. I came by you through a friend of mine, Joshua Alderman, that runs the Orange Elephant Backpackers and Thursday at the Pub in South Africa.
Yeah.
I take it you stayed over there.
Yeah, I stayed at the Orange Backpackers, and I had the luck that the day I came there, they opened the bar and the restaurant for the first time again. So that was pretty cool. It was like a little party going on, and and pizza house. That was good.
Yeah, they've got really nice pizzas there too. I must say
indeed.
that's one of the places that I really do miss it from South Africa is the Orange Elephant. I've got some very fond memories of that place, and I miss old Josh. Shout out Josh. Cheers.
Yeah. Great guy.
Tell me, so you spend some time in South Africa now. You're back in the Netherlands now for a while. How long were you in South Africa now?
3 months. I think when I left the country, I was on 88 days, so just inside of my visa. Yeah.
Okay, and was this trip to South Africa, was it just to go and see what it's like before, obviously, the big trip that we'll talk about now?
It's just a start. I have a wedding next week, so that's the only reason why I'm in the Netherlands. I'm just here for like 2 weeks, and then I go back to South Africa, and it was just the start of the trip. And,
okay. So obviously the reason why I got you on here is because of this epic bloody trip that you are planning.
Yeah.
If you just want to give us sort of just a short version of what you're planning, where you're going, and so on.
In a short way, it's Cape Town to Sydney, Australia, but then all overland, or as much as possible.
Okay.
That's in a short way.
But obviously you're not flying from Cape Town to Australia. You are on your bike.
Yeah, on my motorbike. Yeah.
Okay, and then from just sort of like the main place, you'll go from Cape Town, you'll go up north through Africa.
Yeah.
And then where will you go from Africa? Are you going to head over to Asia?
Yes. So probably gonna do is ride to Israel, take a boat to Greece or Turkey, and then go east via Iran and Pakistan, India. And then it's then we have to see what the political situations are in Southeast Asia, and then ship from some point to Perth or to Darwin, and then cross Australia on the bike. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you now in the Netherlands for a wedding.
Yeah.
You'll be heading back to South Africa soon then, and then the trip officially, well, sort of not starts but resets. Are you traveling from? Are you starting from Cape Town? Is that your point zero?
Yeah, I started from Cape Town, and now my bike is now in Joburg. So when I fly back there, I actually finish South Africa in my head now, and when I get back to Joburg, I have to do some maintenance, and I'll go straight to Botswana, and go for the rest of Africa. Yeah.
Okay, if you want to give us some highlights of your 3 months in South Africa now, because you did obviously started down in Cape Town, and I think when I sort of got put on your Instagram and stuff, I think you did a bit through Lesotho. And thereabouts. What if you want to just give us some highlights of the 3 months that have gone past?
So the first highlight, and maybe a little bit cliche, are the people I met. That's also the reason why I'm doing it, to meet like cool people. Like nature-wise, the Gamkaskloof, I can't pronounce it really. Baviaans, stuff like that. Gamkaskloof. That was amazing. Transkei, I loved the Transkei. That was really good. Very nice people. the cliche kids running out of the gardens waving, and I think those were the highlights. Yeah.
Okay. So you'll be starting out of Joburg, and then like we said, you started out of Cape Town, but now you'll start out of Joburg. Have you got a sort of like a time frame in which you want to finish this whole trip?
So I plan to do my trip in about I'm taking about 2 years to do it. Probably going to have a little break in between to raise the funds a bit again, because it's not it's not very cheap, obviously. But about 2 years. That's the plan.
Okay, so that's from South Africa up north through Africa, Asia, and then finish in Australia in 2 years.
So it's about 1 year. It's about 1 year per continent. So 1 year for Africa and then 1 year for Asia. So, yeah.
How many kilometers is that in total? Do you know?
I've actually no idea. I think I'm guessing about 40,000. That's what I'm guessing.
No.
Yeah,
that's quite a trip. What are you doing this on? What's your setup bike wise?
It's a Honda CRF 250L. It's a tiny dual sport bike, just 25 horsepower, but just 145 kilos wet. That's it. Easy bike to ride, to maintain, and it's a Honda, so it's bulletproof.
Yeah. It's easy to fix as well, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you quickly said there's a bit of maintenance that you need to do when you get back to Joburg now. Are you sort of used to working on bikes? Do you know how the setup and all of this works, or do you take the bike to someone for maintenance?
I do 90% myself. I started riding in 2018, or 2017. So I'm not like I don't ride that long, but because I planned this trip, I started to learn myself everything, and and in the last 2 years, when I couldn't hit the road, I started working in a motorcycle shop, and just met so many people teaching me new stuff, and so now I'm doing it by myself. Yeah.
Okay. And then tell me, besides Joburg, I want to get into a bit more detail. We've got the broad sense of what you're doing now. Can you give me a run through of like specific cities, specific landmarks, stopping points on your way that you are planning?
Like up through Africa, or
the whole way.
Joburg, and then we go into Botswana. September, my mother comes to Namibia. Okay. So I'm going to park my bike there for a month, and we're going to get a bakkie with two rooftop tents, and going to do Namibia for a month, and then go back into Botswana, Zambia, Malawi, and then Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan, and then I'll probably cross out of Egypt to Saudi, Jordan, Israel. That's about like this year.
Okay. That's good. That's quite a. I think for any normal person, that will be a lifetime worth of places to visit, and you are planning to do that in a year. Martin, why the hell are you doing this?
Why not? It's why am I doing it? Sometimes you have moments in life you just realize that life can be really short, and I can do it physically. I got the money. I want to see the world, and I don't want to sit already back home at a shitty job. And just
How
go to
old are
work
you
every
now,
day.
Martin?
I'm 32 now.
32. Okay, so
Yeah.
we the same size.
Yeah.
Are there any specific landmarks that you want to go see? And I know you went through Lesotho.
Yeah.
You saw a few waterfalls and stuff there. Are
Yeah.
there specific landmarks on your way that you wanna go visit?
Yeah, some things I really wanted to do. I already did, like Sunny Pass to Lesotho. There was like a thing I really want to do. It was really special to me. I saw it a few times already on different YouTube channels, and and it's very often when you get to a landmark like that, it's really disappointing. But it really grabbed me by the throat. It was, oh yeah, it was really, really good, really cool. And then other the cliche things like Vic Falls, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to get that's far away, but northern Pakistan and northern India, the Himalayas. That's something I really want to go. It must be beautiful riding. But all in all, I think it's not like completely landmarks for me. It's for me just like experiencing people. Just see again that the world isn't that shit place. We only see it in the news. Weird stuff that happens. Meeting Josh, being complete chaos, blowing his fridges, and then setting me up for a fucking podcast. So that's
it's a shit situation that South Africa is in at this point with the bloody load shedding. There's so many businesses that have lots of damages when your power cuts off, and I mean, like Josh, he's sitting with a whole bar full of fridges in the kitchen, fridges, and all of his stoves and all of that, and it's a bit of a fuck up if half of the stuff goes. I mean, like when you were there when all his fridges went. It is, but I mean that's stuff that you'll get now through your travels through Africa. I mean, as you said, it's I don't think it is as shit as people see in the news, but it's also it's not entirely good news all the way.
No, that's true. That's true. And you also realize that you're living in the UK now, and I think a lot of people think South Africa is just another European country in the African continent. But it's not. It is different, and yes, there's like a lot of Western way of living, and there's also a lot of people with money. But it doesn't have the infrastructure we have over here, especially in the Netherlands, where everything is almost too organized, even more than in the UK. That's was a kind of eye opener to me, actually.
I think you do get if you grew up in a place like the Netherlands, it must be a bit of an eye opener to see how I think looking back, it must have been like you're very comfortable actually in the Netherlands, and things change a lot when you move into Africa.
Yeah, everything changes. But actually, when I came to Africa first, I was in the Western Cape, and if you're in the Western Cape and you get load shedding and blah 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 blah, you think, okay, that's it, and then you get to the Eastern Cape, and that's another step. You go. That's even totally different too. So it is very comfortable here, and it's actually now I'm back for a week now, and you already get sucked into this way of living over here. Yesterday I ordered a new iPhone and stuff like that, and there's a pothole in the road, like, oh man, they got to do some maintenance here. And in South Africa, just slaloming around potholes all the time.
I must say it's silly little stuff that you realize. We've been here for a year now, and it's funny, every now and again, me and my wife will sit and have a chat and realize, like, like a thing like load shedding. We've had uninterrupted electricity for the last year, and you kind of you get comfortable with it now. But it is something that we enjoy. The fact that we've got electricity, it's something that people in the UK are just used to, and we've sort of become accustomed to it now. And it's sad, actually, when I want to talk to a friend back in South Africa and he says, "No, I can't now. My Wi-Fi's down because I don't have electricity. You must phone me after 10." Yeah, I know it's definitely interesting. Tell me, Martin, on this trip of yours, obviously you're on a 250, so it's not a massive bike. You don't have a lot of packing space. Are you camping all the way, or are you planning on staying in hotels and Airbnbs and stuff like that?
So I got all my gear with me to be self-sufficient. So I have a tent, I have sleeping bag, mattress, everything. And I plan to do a lot of camping, but last few months it's winter in Africa right now. So at night it's very wet, and when I want to leave, my whole tent is wet. So if I want to pack my tent dry, I have to wait till 11, 12. So it doesn't make any sense. So last months I stayed mostly in backpackers and some hotels, but always cheap stuff. Yeah. But when I get up, I really want to camp more because I really like it, especially wild camping. Just waking up, zipping your tent up, and then just see the world, nothing there, nobody bothering you, making some coffee. Yeah.
That's a term that I only learned like a month or two ago. This wild camping. I always thought camping is just camping, and that's something that I came to learn here when I was in the UK with people going to do these wild campings. And it's, if I understand it correctly, it's basically you just go somewhere and set up a tent. There's no ablutions. There's no taps or toilets or flipping. There's nothing. You in the wild.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have to check out sometimes in Africa if it's even possible that I'm coming out of my tent to have a piss and then get attacked by a lion or something. But
lions aren't that free roaming in South Africa. I don't know about South Northern Africa, but in South Africa you should be safe.
So where in the UK were you based again?
So we are in East Yorkshire. We're right up against the North Sea, so we're on the coast. It's a small little town close to us called Ottringham. And then we've got the Humber estuary to our south. So the closest sort of like big city is called Kingston upon Hull. Everyone just calls it Hull. But yeah, so we basically in the middle of the UK, just right up against the coast on the eastern side.
I think there's even a boat going from the Netherlands to Hull.
Yes, there's a lot of ferries going here from Hull because of this massive estuary that comes in here. I think there's a lot of offshore like oil rig type stuff that also sends all their oil and gas and everything. Payload sends it here. So we've got a massive port here. Funny enough, called Port Queen Elizabeth. I come from we worked in Port Elizabeth for the last few years, so there's a bit of home every time I drive past there on my way into Hull. I just see Queen Port Elizabeth.
That's cool.
Port Queen Elizabeth. Yeah. Are you doing most of this trip alone? You know, I said your mother's coming through, and then you'll do Namibia. The rest of it on the bike, are you doing it alone?
Yeah, there's some sections that friends want to come over and rent a bike, but yeah, first I have to see to get that happen. It's also very hard because I plan to do Cape Town to Cape Town in these 3 months, do a loop through South Africa. And then I was in East London and I realized I had 2.5 weeks left. So it's really hard to plan stuff. So actually, Namibia with my mother is pretty good because it's in September. So I have 1 month to get to Namibia, and there's only Botswana in between. So if I'm very slow, I could do the rest of Botswana afterwards. But it's really hard to say, like, oh, you want to come to Kenya? Okay, I'll see you in November. And then I'll probably, like, the last week of October, I'll still be in Zambia and have to all the miles. Yeah, so I'm really happy when friends come to visit, but if they want to come, they have to be available on short notice. Like, okay, guys, I'll be at that location like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And the most employers don't like to give the stuff like off that short notice. Yeah. So let's see what's gonna happen.
Martin, tell me, paperwork wise, doing this trip, visas and like crossing borders and all of that, is it a relatively easy thing, or is there a lot of admin involved?
So it's different per country. Lesotho was just a stamp in the passport and showing my how do you call it, vaccination certificate. But if you get to Egypt, it's a totally different story. You have to get like approval from the government, blah, 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 blah. It's all bullshit. And also a lot of corruption, and they will try to find anything on your bike that's not street legal or whatever and let you pay for it. But mostly it's pretty good. You have to get for a lot of countries a paper that's called the Carnet du Passage, and it's actually kind of a passport for your bike, and that that prevents you from illegally exporting your bike into a country. But that piece of paper is pretty expensive. It's 270 euros, and then you have to pay a deposit to the worth of your bike. So I've acquired a cheap bike, so I have a cheap deposit, which is already 3,000 euros. And that's big money. And then some other countries also have next to that paper their own temporary import permits. So, but it's different per country. And visa-wise, I'm Dutch. I'm very privileged with my passport. Most countries, I can just run to the border and say, "Hi, I'm Martin," and then they stamp my passport to get a visa for 30 days.
Yeah.
Happy days. Yeah. Yeah. So
I think that's where you are very privileged. I think a South African passport doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
You have to apply a trip like this for South African if you want to do a trip like that through Europe, it's going to be a bit more difficult, and I think you are fortunate in terms of that. Tell me, Martin, your equipment. I want to get into specifically the bike. So you said you've got that Honda CRF 250. Why this bike? Why did you choose that one? Because I think the reason why is I think most people, when you talk about a trip like this, most people will immediately go to a BMW GS, the 850 or the 1200 or something big. It's interesting hearing that you want to do it on a 250cc.
So yeah, when I was in Asia for the first time, I did Vietnam motorbikes. North to south, bought a little bike at the north and went to the south, and I really got into the biking trips, and I saw like Singapore, that's the furthest point I can go on a bike. And then I was like, oh yeah, but I'd need a big adventure bike then. And so I checked on buying a 1250 GS. That was 25,000 euros. That was, I didn't even earn that in a year at that point.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So if you have to pay your rent and save that bike together and blah 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 blah, it's like I never, I will never be able to do it. And then I put it in the fridge, this whole plan, and then I broke my leg and was at home for a few months and started watching traveling videos. What?
How did you do that? Because you just went over that very quickly. You broke your leg.
Yeah. There was like, we had snow in the Netherlands, so about 3 mils. And my friend just came back from traveling, and he did a lot of surfing. And I was like, "Oh, I'm Tim, I'm a surfer boy." And I ran a bit and then slided on both my legs. And then my right leg got grip. And then it snapped inside, and I broke my calf, my ligaments of my ankle, and it's 3 breaks in my ankle. And
bloody hell.
So I had surgery and stuff. And I couldn't walk for 6 weeks. So I was just watching traveling videos. But then I found all these people just traveling around the world on any bike. There's this British guy, Teapot One. He did it on Suzuki GSX-R 1000, like a racing bike. But a lot of people also on 250s. And if you buy a CRF 250 new, or now the 300, you pay around 6,000 euros. That's quite a difference from 25,000 euros. So that's the reason. The second thing is I'm by my own. If I drop a 250 kilo bike plus luggage, it's pretty shit to pick up.
Yeah, it's quite an ordeal to get that thing on its wheels again.
Yeah, and then also when I like to take the little bit harder dirt roads. I prefer if it's actually not a road anymore. But it's pretty daunting when you're on a 250 kilo bike. And now I just go every road people tell me, like, oh, that's really cool. And doesn't matter if it's enduro riders or just road riders. I always get through it. Not always in the nicest way. And sometimes I fall. Sometimes I have to pedal through it, but I'll get through because it's very easy with a light bike. And yeah, there's no hurry in Africa, especially not on a big trip.
No.
So I don't need 140 horsepower. Yeah.
So you'll be on African time very soon. The African time is very chilled and very laid back. We've got a word or a saying in South Africa where, I don't know if you heard someone say it, but if you ask someone when they'll do something, then they'll say, "No, we'll do it now."
Yeah,
now can mean anything from in the next 5 minutes to the next year. Now is not time efficient at all. But
so tell me what's now?
That is the African way.
But tell me what's now? What's just now? I forgot it.
Now and just now is the same. It's the same in descriptive word of just nothingness. There is, like I said, just now is I think it's basically the same as now. Now might be a bit earlier than just now, depending on where you are. I think it's basically the same thing where there is no time put up against the phrase of now or just now. So we've got the bike. Have you made any modifications to this bike?
A lot, actually, too many modifications. So the first modification, the bike comes with an 8-liter tank, so that's not a lot of range. So I put a bigger tank on it, still just 12.5 liters. A different suspension.
What range? What range do you get on that 12.5 liters now?
About, if I really empty it, 350 kilometers. And then I have extra like a jerry can, like rotor packs on the back with another gallon. So that's another 110 kilometers.
Okay.
So just like 450 in total, like if I fully load it. And then the suspension is really shit on the bike. So got new shock, New spring at the front, got the forks reshimmed, and a luggage rack, obviously. The subframe of the bike is very weak, so you really need a luggage rack. You can't put like a rackless system on it. Those are the most important things you have to do. And then the fun starts as a biker and as a gadget geek. Some more protection like a bash plate and GPS, but the GPS is on a nice bracket and a custom seat and different tires, obviously, and frame protectors. A lot of electronic works. Heated grips. Heated grips is my like for comfort the most important thing.
Yeah.
Especially now in Africa, it's not. You don't want to ride with winter glass, but sometimes, especially when you're long on a bike or when the sun is behind the mountains, you get cold hands really fast. And if you just have like this little heat in your grips, it's day and night difference.
It makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah. And if you get cold hands, like 50% of your concentration goes to your hands. So I think it's also like a safety feature. In my head.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I think also with gear, like comfort is the most important thing, safety wise.
No, definitely. I mean, you're not nipping around town. You're doing one hell of a trip. And how many kilometers are you planning on doing every day?
So I try to plan like 250 kilometers a day.
Okay.
I'm trying to avoid the highways. So I can, if I want, like if there's highways, I can do like a 700, 800 kilometer on a day. But yeah, there's no fun, especially in this bike because there's no wind protection and it's just a 250. My top speed is 115 kilometers an hour. So I take all the back roads and the dirt roads and just to have a little fun along the way and So 250 is perfect.
Yeah, that is the fun way around, is to take all the back roads and the dirt roads and the ups and downs. I mean, like you did Sani Pass now and all of that. That's really fun. I think for Sani Pass is probably on the top of the list for most bikers in South Africa to go and do. It's definitely a fun one. That was on my list when I still had a bike, but it is it's fun to do. It's a different type of thing to get on a bike and drive to Cape Town on the N1 and you nip down there 400 kilometers. It's 3.5 hours and you're there, and you didn't really see anything and experience anything. It's much more fun doing it the long way around, I guess.
Yeah, especially in Africa, you want, at least for me, like for a foreigner, you want to see the culture, and if you just pass all the time with 100 k's plus, it's I can go highway riding here in the Netherlands as well if I want. I don't need to go to Africa for that. Yeah.
No. And then tell me, you've obviously got a specialized tent for this trip?
Yeah, it's like a backpacker's tent, so like lightweight. I try to, because it's also a small bike, it doesn't have a lot of power. I really invest in lightweight stuff. So my tent it's if I can say brands, it's an MSR Hubba Hubba, and it's like a 2-person tent, 1.3 kilos.
It's very light.
Yeah, it's very light, and it's the same with my air mattress is light. Like it's not as bad as with backpacking, but all the grams add up. Before you know, and especially when you go to South Africa and you get invited for a braai like 2 times a week and drink a lot of Black Label or brandy and Coke, that's even worse. You'll gain some weight as well. So
you can't say no to a bit of brandy.
No. But also not to a good steak.
Yeah. How much weight can you put on that bike?
How much can I put on? So I think I have about 25 to 30 kilos of of luggage right now, and that's also where my suspension for is made for my weight plus the luggage. But what I said, I gained a little bit of weight in South Africa, so I have to adjust the suspension a bit. Yeah, but I think that's also like almost the max of the bike because it's such a small bike. You don't want to put more weight on it. So that's why it's for me so important to get like all this lightweight stuff.
Yeah, you also don't want to make it too heavy. You don't want to take too much shit with you, make it too heavy, because then obviously maneuverability is becomes more difficult. And as you said, you're not taking highways. You're going to go on the back roads and the places that were roads and are not anymore. So you need to be maneuverable, and you need to sort of be in charge of the bike and not be thrown around by excess weight on the back.
Yeah, it's what you say. Things that were roads. It's like when I was in Lesotho, my GPS said go left, and then I came on into this pile of boulders, but I couldn't go back up anymore as well. And then after a while, I had to walk the bike down, and then like a local came around and just helped me to get over all the boulders. And he said, "Yeah, when you get around this corner, it will be better." And then it's like these huge ruts of more than a meter. Deep, and it was even harder. And then but it was really cool. Like people in the studio are like really chill, and I could cross their gardens and to find my way down that way. So yeah,
I saw the video and the photos of that specific piece that you did. I saw on Instagram. Just if people while they're listening to this want to go check out your Instagram, what's your handle? What can they go look for on Instagram to find you?
It's Overlander No Coriander.
Okay, just for in case someone wants to go look at this, look at all these videos and photos and stuff as we're talking. Where does the no coriander thing come from?
So on my first overseas backpacking trip, I went to Asia, went to Myanmar, and then on my first biking trip in Vietnam. But the food in Myanmar isn't too good. It's like shitty Thai food. And when I was back home, everybody was like, "Oh, when you get to Vietnam, the food is amazing." And so I was like really keen. It's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Vietnam." But obviously, I don't like coriander. In Vietnam, coriander is in everything. When you get breakfast, you get noodle soup filled with coriander. When you stop somewhere along the road, you get noodle soup filled with coriander. When you get dinner, you get noodle soup with fucking coriander. So I was totally done with it. And then at some point, I got food poisoning, and then I was so done with it. And then after I flew to New Zealand, and before I went to New Zealand, I never liked mashed potatoes, and I arrived there and it was mashed potatoes with a sausage, bangers and mash, and it was the best dish ever.
Shit. And it's something that I've come to like is the proper British bangers and mash. Something that we do sort of we obviously don't do bangers a lot in South Africa. We've got boerewors, which is just like a proper what we'll call a proper sausage. But I've come to really enjoy the bangers and mash.
Can I say something about the British food?
Oh yeah,
I think the British food is the most underrated food in the world. It's I love to go. One of my best friends, who I did the Vietnam trip with, he moved to the UK a few years back, and I love to go there and have like a good Sunday roast. I love the full English, and everybody's putting the beans aside, and I'm like chucking all the beans. I think the British food is really good. It's really fat. It's not healthy, but it's very nice.
Yeah. I must say that is everyone before coming here, everyone sort of said, no, we'll obviously miss South African food, but everyone said, but British food, British cuisine is very bland, and it's all one color, and it's boring. And I think the stuff that we've had, we've not been to a lot of restaurants and all of that, but the stuff that we've had is quite nice. And I think England, I don't. Obviously, I've only been here for a year, and I've not been outside of England. But England is a hell of a melting pot for different cultures.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, just in the city and whole. I mean, if you walk down the street, you'll get a German kebab shop, and you'll get some other like a Polish deli type thing, and you'll get a Pakistani type thing. Yeah, and when we were down in London, there was a lot of Jamaican food, and there's really so many other cultures involved. In the UK, yeah, it's very interesting. You don't have to go far to sort of get something specific. And there's even a lot of South African shops, a lot of South African shops around, a lot of South African restaurants, and the food isn't as shitty as everyone says it is.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of so I hear a lot of South Africans. Leaving South Africa, going to Europe, but a lot of them also going to the UK. Yes, I can imagine it's like a lot of South African culture up there.
It is. It's a big problem for South Africa, I think, at this point, because the country's losing a shitload of professional people, doctors, engineers, a lot of farmers, stuff like that, and it's crucial for the country, but just I don't want to put this into too much of a political thing, but I mean you've been there, you've seen what goes on there, and it's sad to see so many people leave, but I do think at this day and age the world's become very small. There's you get South Africans everywhere. I mean, I think we were here for 2 weeks. In East Yorkshire. The second week we were here, we went to the Sainsbury's. Yeah, and there was a woman with a South African rugby jersey walking in front of me, and I told her, "Hey, where did you get that jersey?" And in the most South African accent said, "Where the fuck do you think I got it? Bloody South Africa." And so I just immediately got another South African. I think I'm on like a Facebook group of South Africans in Yorkshire, and there's like I think almost 2,000 people on the Facebook group, and I don't know how many South Africans are in the UK, but there's quite a lot, and it's the same for America, the same for Australia, the same for New Zealand. We are bloody everywhere. But like I said, it's the world has become very small. It's easy to travel. Costs a bit of loot, obviously, but it's relatively easy to travel nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. Yeah.
Mark, to get back to your equipment and stuff, how much clothes are you taking with? How does your how many costume changes are you planning for each day?
Yeah. So first of all, if somebody wants to host me along the way, expect me to smell. No, I think I'm not 100% sure. I got 4 or 5 pairs of boxers. Then I have 3 pairs of socks and 2 pairs of riding socks. 3 t-shirts and 1 long sleeve. 1 pair of zip-off pants. And 1 pair, I call them hippie pants. It's like these very lightweight things, not with elephants on them, but pretty ugly, but very convenient. And some long undies for the colder days on the bike. and then one vest, and then I got a down jacket, rain jacket, and my motorcycle jacket and motorcycle pants. And my motorcycle pants are actually more like casual style. So when my normal pants are in the laundry, I just wear my motorcycle pants during the day or at night. So yeah, that's about it.
And
so
then
not too much.
In terms of extra parts for the bike, repair kits, stuff like that, what do you take with?
2 extra tubes. I got tube tires, so a front tube and a rear tube. I got some oil filters. I always have enough oil with me for oil change, for in case I drown my bike or I destroy my engine case, have to repair it, and have to fill it up again. Yeah. What's that? Some filters. I have foam filters as air filters, and I have there's 2 stages, and I have 2 times the first stage, so I can swap them, and I clean one and dry it and put a fresh one on it. Some spare bulb for my rear light. That's about it with the spares, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of patches.
But luckily, I think Honda is a popular brand. I mean, you should be able to get bits and pieces here and there while you're on the road.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And it's also not like that all the parts of my bike are just made for my bike, but it's for the CRF 250, but the 50% of the parts also go on the CBR 250. And there's some weird bikes everywhere in the world we don't know, in the Western world, but also like exchange parts with the CRF. So, if a bike is not known in a certain country, it doesn't mean that you can't get the parts.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see there is some great African ingenuity. You'll be able to fashion something out of something to make it work along the way.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's not like you always replace stuff. In Europe, we're like very used to replacing parts, but when you get out of Europe, people are way more used to repairing stuff. And maybe for like the African listeners, they will be like, what? You replace everything? Yeah, that's what we do here, because labor is just too expensive. But yeah, I think it's better to repair actually. So yeah, why not?
Duct tape and a piece of wire goes a long way.
Yeah, just bring duct tape and tie wraps and zip ties. Sorry.
Yeah, and then obviously you said you'll try and camp as much as possible. What do you take with in terms of food?
It's always different to where you are. So often cooking is even more expensive than buying food, and cooking. So cooking is more expensive than just going out for dinner in a lot of countries. So when it's convenient and it's cheap, I just go for dinner. And for breakfast, I always have some oats with me, like in one meal packages, so I can just cook some water, put some water with my oats, some water with my coffee, and I'm happy till like 12, 1 o'clock, till I find a nice place to have lunch. So yeah, and for lunch I often just bring wraps and just put some avo on it and some biltong
and some coriander.
Oh, fuck that.
So you've got like a little stove set up to boil water and make some coffee and all of that.
Yeah, and also my stove it's a Primus Omni fuel, and it just can take any fuel. I put the same gas in it, same fuel in it as I put in my bike, so it's really convenient. Yeah, so it doesn't matter where I am in the world. I'm always able to cook, to make my coffee and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, luckily, the way that you're going, there's always a bit of wood lying around, so you can always just make a fire and fry a piece of meat.
So I tried to bride myself before I bride with South Africans, and then I just made a fire, and then when everything was burning, I just let everything collapse and try to bride on like these pieces of wood that were just glowing like a little bit. It's like how the hell are these South Africans do this? But yeah. I learned now. I met Josh, obviously, and some other African people. So yeah.
Yeah, Josh is definitely a good guy to learn some bride tips from.
Yeah.
He's definitely at home in front of a fire. He knows the ins and the outs of that.
Yeah.
Um,
But that was the thing I didn't expect when I met him.
Yeah.
When I met him, I was like, okay. I thought he was like a bit of a nerd, but he knows his way with a piece of it. Sorry, Josh. Love you.
No, he is. I don't think he'll be offended. He is. He does enjoy a bit of PlayStation and the odd computer games. I do think he is. Definitely a bit of a nerd, but he is. He knows his way around a brandy and Coke, and he definitely knows his way around a piece of meat.
Yeah, he was very keen to show me his Nintendo 64 emulator on his computer. So he's definitely a bit of a nerd.
He actually, I think, I can't remember exactly when this was, but we used to play a game when we were kids. Damn it, man, I can't fucking remember this game's name now. I can't believe that I can't remember this now. I can still remember all the cheats for the fucking game, and I can't remember the name. I keep on wanting to say Lord of the Rings. It's not Lord of the Rings. But anyway, Josh also came to me one day and said he found this game, like the original one, and you can actually get it on your phone and all of this, but I never got around to play the game. No, it's not Zelda. It's like a strategic game that I can't believe.
Age of Empires. Yeah.
There we go. I think he still plays it. I enjoy Josh. It's every now and again. I've got a PlayStation here, so every now and again on a Sunday, me and him and a few other friends will kill people online and have a bit of banter.
Yeah.
Martin, you said you are a bit into techie stuff. So you said you've got your GPS. What else are you taking with, like cell phone? Have you got a satellite phone or just a normal phone? And what else have you got that you're taking with?
So I bring my mobile phone, obviously an iPhone. I have my iPad with me. I'm actually not sure why I brought my iPad, because it's just a big iPhone. That's it. It just takes space, actually. But it's nice to watch my Netflix series on, because it's dark so early in Africa. So then when I'm in my tent and it's like 8 p.m. and I'm sitting next to my tent, oh yeah, what now? So I just watch some Netflix series, and I don't watch any series at home because I just find it a waste of time, actually. And then I have Garmin InReach, which is like a small GPS transmitter.
Okay.
And so I can send messages to my family with it. So when I don't have any cell reception, I just put like a pre-programmed message. Hi, I don't have any service, but everything is okay. With my GPS location, and it goes straight to my mother, so she knows.
Okay, so it's like a little safety
yeah thing. But it also has an SOS button, and if I press that button, I'll get in touch with Garmin, and I can communicate with them. And if I'm not sending anything else, they just they start the search and rescue. So people will come look for me and maybe bring in a helicopter to save me, and which I think is very important when you're alone.
No, hopefully you won't need that.
I hope so too. I'm not expecting to need it, but yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then any other luxury items that you're taking with?
Luxury items. Yeah, I think my iPad is my luxury item. Oh, and a camping chair. It's if I'm sitting all day on my bike, I don't want to sit on the ground next to my tent. So I got my little lightweight chair, like a proper chair with a backrest and all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's really important because uh, everybody. So for not bike, I think a lot of not bikers think that riding a bike is the same as riding a car, but it's pretty fatiguing, especially
yeah.
when you're riding like a lot of dirt roads and stuff. So yeah, I want to proper chill when I'm next to my tent. Yeah.
It is. I think there is. I used to have a Honda CRF 250R,
Oh yeah,
more the racy one.
yeah,
Um, and that thing it's very strenuous on your shoulders,
yeah,
your elbows, your hands, because I mean you're holding on for dear life on that thing, and especially the types of roads that you do. I mean you're going up and you're going down, and especially on
yeah,
those downwards tracks. I mean there's a lot of weight that you put on your shoulders.
yeah,
So it makes sense that you want to sit back and rest a bit at the end of the day.
yeah. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, but yeah. I think my CRF is a little bit more chill because yeah, the R is like a really aggressive bike. People see my bike, they think it's like the same as an enduro bike, but it's like the CBR 250 engine, so it's like a smooth road engine, so it's
Yeah,
a little bit less fatiguing, but it's also a bit heavier, so you're not going as aggressive and everything. Plus, with all my luggage, if you ride too hard, you just stress the bike too much and things are
yeah.
breaking. Like my luggage rack broke like 4 times already in the past 3 months.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, I try to I try to ride a little bit careful to not break everything and break myself as well. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously the jockey is the most important part of that bike.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so you need to look after yourself. What other safety measures have you put in place? Like you said, you've got the GPS little tool that you can use. Have you got anything? I mean, you are traveling through Africa. Have you got anything to protect yourself with, if push comes to shove,
Yeah.
or are you trusting that everything will go
So
okay?
that's a thing in especially South Africa. Like everywhere you are going, people are telling you, "Oh, it's dangerous there," and there are like really dangerous places in South Africa. Like Umtata, in 1 week time, a couple I know, they just got in some scam, and the other couple they got literally attacked. They are traveling with a Land Rover and people hanging on the windows and
Yeah,
trying to break in their car. Um, but uh, but also like the Transkei. When I was in East London, I was sitting in a bar and they asked me, "Where are you going next?" So yeah, going to the Transkei. Ah, you better take a knife or something, you know. And those were the the nicest people I met on my trip so far. Um, yeah, I'm not prepared on people attacking me. I don't expect people to attack me. I just follow my gut feeling, and if I think, oh, this is not safe, I just put in the first gear, open my throttle, and just go away. I'm not. Nah. Yeah, I trust. I trust the
what
world.
do they say, when in doubt, throttle out. Um,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
I do think that if you if you don't put yourself in a dangerous situation, then obviously it's not going to be dangerous. And I also do think we are touching on it now, but I mean it's more joking than anything. I think most parts are very safe, and the people are very accommodating. The people are very nice, as you said, traveling through Lesotho. The kids running out the houses and waving and all of that.
But I also had a lot in South Africa, like Transkei, but also like the Rhodes area, the how do you call it, the Drakensberg area. Everybody was so happy, and definitely there were some moments that like people just waving at me, like giving me food, or I don't know, but nobody was like aggressive or anything. It was actually pretty good.
I think also most of the roads that you travel on, it's not like there's vehicles on those roads every day. I think it's sort of nice to see a motorbike come past, or a vehicle or whatever come past, new people, and like I said, everyone's then stood there waving and whistling and whatever. I do think it's what like I said, we are joking about it now. It's not all bad. And like I said, I mean, if you're going to put yourself in a shitty situation, then it might be a bit dangerous. But if you stay on the safe path, then you'll be safe. Martin, what happens if your bike fails tremendously, which obviously we hope will not happen, but if you blow an engine, or if the bikes are right off, have you got a plan B? What will you do then?
Find a mechanic. That's it. What plan B should I have? No, I just try to get it fixed, and I have some money put aside for when things go bad really, or if it goes bad really hard, but I think I have to go with the flow. You can't be prepared for that, I guess. I know people who blew their engine, but then you just get like a local with a bucky, put the bike on the back, and drive to a mechanic and pay for it. Yeah, that's just stuff that happens, and it can happen anywhere. It can happen in the middle of Cape Town. It can also happen halfway up Sunny Pass or some other difficult pass. I think you can't be prepared for that, especially because I'm not. I'm pretty heady with the bike, but I'm not a mechanic. So yeah.
I think that the bikes are also built to last. I mean, the Hondas are tough bikes, and you shouldn't have any trouble. But I do also think that they are relatively easy to fix. I think if you know your way around it a bit, then you shouldn't get into too much trouble.
Yeah. So when if I would ride like a very fancy KTM with a lot of electronics and stuff, if you get to a mechanic in some remote country, mechanics wouldn't dare to work on it because they have no idea. But my bike is just it's maybe a little bit bigger than they used to, but it's still a one cylinder, and it's not carbureted but fuel injection, but for the rest it's just like a big moped. And I think that helps too. And if it really goes bad, I always have mechanics in the Netherlands I'm in touch with who know the bike well, or just like very good mechanics anyway. So I can always just call home. So you said like the world got so small where we are in a video call. I can do that anywhere in the world with my phone and just show like what's going on, or just say, oh, do I have to turn this bolt now, or do I have to turn this bolt now? I'll find my way when shit hit the fan.
Okay. Martin, tell me, obviously you are from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town just above the city Breda. It's called Ter Heiden. It's just a town slash village. 7,000 people living there,
Okay.
and just in a regular house. Mom and daddy, 2 sisters. Yeah.
And are you do you come out of a sort of like an adventurous family, or where did this adventurous side of yours come from?
Where does it come from? I think it's something that just evolves during time. I remember when I was still with my ex-girlfriend, we were at my parents, and my mother had this book with all the wonders of the world, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to go there, and I want to go there, and I want to go there. And but yeah, back then I was just starting working. My girlfriend at the time didn't have any money. I couldn't afford for the both of us, but this was all stuck in me. Just I wanted to visit everything, and then when we broke up, I was like, okay, now I can afford it.
You've got the dead weight. You've gotten rid of the dead weight now.
Yeah. I can afford it for myself. So and then I started backpacking, and then this idea of this big bike trip came, and I'm actually a sound engineer. That's my profession, and when the big pandemic started, I lost all my work because I was self-employed, and I started working at a motorcycle shop of a friend of mine. He did a 3-year around the world trip together with his wife on 2 CRF 250s. So I started working there, and then I got into this whole adventure travel world. And then, you get so much inspiration. There is so much I want to do now. It's not gonna fit in my life anyways. But so I think that's where I didn't get adventurous stuff from home, but it just evolved over time, with just starting with a backpacking trip in the Balkans to what I'm doing right now.
Okay. And sorry. So you said, okay, you sound engineer, and then you worked in the bike shop. So how are you funding this trip? And if you could just give like what's your budget for this trip? What are your planned expenses?
So how I'm funding it is just I saved up. I worked a lot in the past years. I became self-employed in 2019. I had cheap rent. And I was so in need of a new laptop and in need of a lot of new things, but I just didn't buy it, and just tried to save up as much as possible. And so that's how I'm funding it. And now with all the inflation stuff going on with the Ukraine war, it's my funds. I think my funds are not enough anymore. So I'll go back next year to work a bit and to fund the rest of the trip. Okay. So what's my budget? I budgeted on 30 euros a day, which is about 1,000 euros a month, roughly. And I knew South Africa would be a little bit more expensive. Also because there's like a lot to do. I'm not going to South Africa just to ride my motorbike. I'm going for the traveling, not for the bike riding. I like bike riding, so it's a good way to travel. But I just don't want to cross South Africa. Cross South Africa and didn't see anything, so I did safaris and stuff like that. So I think in South Africa I was now on 1,500 euros a month. And I hope to get it back to 1,200 euros a month when I get out of South Africa. So
okay, so that's now fuel and lodging and food and all of that.
Yeah, but now like with the fuel getting so expensive, I was already on my planned daily budget only with fuel and accommodation, because I think fuel is now 25 rand a liter, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, 12 liters of fuel. That's up.
That's expensive.
And then, accommodation is also like in hostels, 250 rand a night average. So yeah.
Luckily, there's a lot of backpackers scattered all across Africa.
Yeah.
And some of these places are really nice, and I think it is a nice cheap way of seeing the world is just traveling from backpackers to backpackers.
Yeah, especially traveling solo. Backpackers is the way to go, because I'm quite a social person. I like to have a beer with people, have a good laugh at the fire, and so if you go from hotel to hotel or just from campsite to campsite, you're not going to meet too many people.
Yeah.
And the fun thing with South Africa is I met so many South Africans at the backpackers, and I used that when I was in Asia or New Zealand or Europe. When you meet people, they're all travelers in the backpackers and never locals. But in South Africa, there's so many South Africans just traveling around South Africa, and it's so cool. So you get so much of the culture as well. So it's a good scene down there. Yeah.
So South Africa is nice in a sense where you've got, I mean, your landscape changes so much going from the Western Cape to the Eastern Cape, from the Eastern Cape to the Northern Cape, and then going up to the Free State, going up to Lesotho. It's I mean, you're basically in a different country if you go into a different province. There's so many different biomes and so many different stuff to see, where I think that is why so many people tend to travel within South Africa. And I mean, South Africa is big, as you've seen now. You can just get away for a long weekend and see a place completely different from what you used to. It's very nice. I used to work for just before coming here, I used to work for Farm Ranger. It's basically agricultural sales. So I traveled quite a lot, and it was nice because I never obviously in school you travel a lot for sport and all of that, but I never had the money really to just go and travel on my own, or with a girlfriend or whatever. So it was really nice working for Farm Ranger, because I went to literally all parts of South Africa, trying to sell this product. And we really have, I mean, South Africa it's beautiful. I've been in Namibia. I come from Namibia. I was born in Walvis Bay, so I know I know Namibia. Well, the last time I've been there was 2006, I think. So it's quite a bit of time ago. But Namibia is also very beautiful, and I mean, Africa as a whole is a spectacularly beautiful country. So continent. So it's definitely worth the trip. How are you? Obviously, traveling. I mean, you speak English quite well, and but how are you planning to bridge the gap in terms of language, going through all of these countries?
So I speak Dutch, English, and German, and I can say hello, goodbye in French, but that's it. Hand, feet, and if you're traveling, how much we wanna take the unbeaten paths, you always end up in the tourist destinations, because you just get this list of places where you want to go. and all these pins on Google Maps that people recommended. So I think the only places where you really have like a language barrier is if you're riding from one place to the other and you want to try to get food or something somewhere. But then you just point like, I want the thing in that pot and the thing in that pot and the thing in that pot. And then you make like a sign of money, and then they get the phone out or the calculator, and they just put down the number you have to pay. And most of the time, that's a really good number. Or sometimes it's a ridiculous number, and they have to bargain a bit. But it's not that I'm having like these live discussions with people on the side of the road. So most of the time it's pretty easy. And sometimes I just get my phone out and I'll just I get Google Maps out, and then I do like vroom vroom and just show the route I'm taking, and that's my way. Yeah.
I guess you do have I mean, you've got your phone and all of that, so you can always use Google Translate if you need to. Or I think traveling has become a lot easier. We've said it now before, but I think getting around, you don't have to drive around with a massive map that you have to unfold and try to get back into a little fucking square and put it in your pocket. It's easy with a GPS, and it's easy with a cell phone, and as long as you've got signal. I mean, obviously you can use your cell phone. And are you on some other, like a roaming package type thing on your cell phone?
I just buy SIM cards everywhere. So I got my MTN card in South Africa, and I get my something in Botswana.
Okay, that's easy enough.
There's a thing I want to. You said like traveling got so easy, and that's true. I when I was in Hermanus, I stopped in front of the backpackers there. Sorry, and I was actually looking to go somewhere else because it was early that day, and I wanted to make progress. And the owner came out. He saw like a bike with a Dutch plate, and he told me that he traveled through Africa. I think it was 93, but like somewhere in the 90s. So like really old school with the map. And he met his wife now. I think it was, I'm looking at the map, I think it was Guinea or something. But he went all the way from South Africa up to, I think, Kenya, and then west through Congo and everything to Dakar, Senegal.
Okay.
And then you're just like, first you think, I'm like this cool dude traveling on my motorbike, and he did like ages ago where there was no fucking roads, there was no GPS, there was no way to communicate home.
Yeah.
You could send a letter, and it was taking like 3 weeks if it arrived.
If it arrives,
letters arriving is still a thing in South Africa, but
barely. Our postal service is very shitty in South Africa. If you do get a letter, it's you're very lucky.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the things that sort of impressed us very early on, moving to the UK, where we initially, when we got here, we came here in the middle of like fucking COVID, so it was we had to do the hotel quarantine for 10 days, and then hopped around in hotels and Airbnbs for a while. So I've got friends down in London, in just outside London in Croydon, and we used their address for a while just to sort of get all our stuff registered on the side, and excuse me, and get stuff like bank accounts opened and all of that.
Yeah.
And we were amazed how quickly, when we got here, where we are now in Yorkshire, how quickly it was to send like a bank card that was delivered to their house in Croydon. it's like 2 days, then it's here.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Where I think in this stage in South Africa, you basically have to courier everything just to make sure that it does end up where it's supposed to go. There's a lot of I can carry on for days about that. The stuff that we enjoy being.
When I told about my expensive piece of paper for my bike, I had to send it to South Africa to my contact person there because it had to get stamped in South Africa, and it was like with capital letters: use DHL, don't use the regular post because it will get lost. I can't imagine losing that piece of paper. That would cost me so much money.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like we had to put our South African driver's licenses, obviously get that put over into UK driver's licenses, and you literally you fill in a form, you put your driver's license in an envelope with, I think you put a self-addressed envelope in there as well, and it was like, I think a week, maybe 5 days later, we had our licenses all sorted. Where if you had to do that in South Africa, my man, you will stand in a line at Home Affairs for fucking days trying to get that, or at the traffic department or whatever, trying to get that sorted out. Where it's quick and easy. I mean, one of the guys working on the farm here, one of the managers, he's got a little dog, and this dog chewed through his passport. He was supposed to go. Well, he was on his way. He was busy packing to go to Canada for holiday, and put his passport and his papers and everything on the bed while he was packing. And all of a sudden, passport's gone. Got the passport back, and the dog had chewed through one of the corners of the passport. And luckily, he explained everything to the people, and they said, no, it's fine, he can travel with it, but he needs to get it replaced as quick as possible. And it's also it's the online form that you get. You fill it in, put it in an envelope with your passport, send it away. A few days later, you get your new passport. It's so efficient, so quick and easy. It's a hell of a difference living in a first world country.
Yeah, but I think sometimes we don't realize how privileged we are. I also met this girl in Nature's Valley, and she rode her she's Dutch as well. She rode a motorbike through West Africa down to South Africa, and she wants to become a South African citizen, and she's waiting for a year already to get like the paper stuff done. She just filled in the form, and it's still pending and pending and pending. It just nothing is happening. And in the Netherlands, you just go to your city council and you just fill the forms. And if you're really unlucky, it takes 5 days.
Yeah. Everything here is even buying a car. I mean, we drove to a guy's house, checked the car out, said, okay, we want to buy the car. We gave him the cash. He went on his phone, went on the government website, tip, okay, the car's in your name, here's the keys, you can go. And I think like you said, 5 days, a week later, we got the car's papers in the post, and that's that, the car's ours. It's simple stuff like that would take bloody ages in South Africa. That's very, very easy to do. Martin, you've throughout the chat that we've had now, you've mentioned that you've been on quite a few trips now. You've been to New Zealand and a few other places. It sounds like you're quite well traveled. Do you want to take us through some of these previous trips of yours?
Yeah, so I already told it was hard to travel with me with my ex-girlfriend because she had no money. So I started like really traveling when I was 25, which for me felt like really old. But I've seen. I tried to travel as much as possible. Since then, I did like a Balkan trip in 2015, backpacking there solo. Then half a year later, I went to Asia, started in Thailand because when you get to Asia, like Bangkok is the hub of Asia.
Yeah.
You always go through Bangkok, and then we went to Myanmar. Did 1 month of Myanmar, which is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been, especially with the people. The people there are amazing, so lovely, and it opened in 2011. We arrived there January of 2016, so everything was still so original, so clean, and there was also like one of the countries I was really looking forward to go back, but there's like a huge conflict going on there right now. Actually, today the news came out, like for the first time since 1980, 4 people got executed over there for with the death punishment. So yeah, I'm really bummed I can't go there anymore. Yeah, after that, we went to Vietnam. I was traveling that point with 2 friends. We bought 3 bikes in the north of Vietnam and rode them all the way down to the south, to Ho Chi Minh City. And then we split up, and I went to New Zealand for a few months. Traveled around there, tried to work there, but I tried to work there as a sound engineer, but it took me years to get a decent living from that in the Netherlands, and I don't know why I thought I could pull it off there. So after 2.5 months, I drank all my money. Yeah, and after that, I went to Nepal for some hiking, to Thailand, and then after that, some little trips. I got like a real job at that point, so yeah, it wasn't. I had decent holidays, but yeah, not to do like a big backpacking trip. And then actually, this like 2019, this trip came in my head, and I got self-employed. But yeah, 2020, shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
So everything got delayed for 2 years, and yeah, now I'm in Africa. Like yeah, I'm traveling through Africa. So that's like in big lines what I saw from the world. Never been to the Americas. That's actually a thing that that's in my head right now. Like after I did this trip, I'm gonna find a way to fund to do like Ushuaia to Alaska, so this most southern tip of South America to like the northern point of North America. So that's a thing I really want to do. And there's some stuff going on in Central Asia I really want to do, but yeah, with the whole Russia situation and Western China situation with I don't know how you say it in English, but we call the Uyghur. It's like the Muslim population in Western China that gets suppressed. It's hard to you can't travel through there as well. So that was actually like one of my other highlights of my trip. I really wanted to go. I have to skip now, but that's something I want to do in the future as well. Maybe combine it with a trip to Mongolia or something. But then the Russian situation have to stabilize first, I guess.
Yeah, it's been interesting to sort of be so relatively close to this whole Russia thing.
Yeah.
Because we've got Romanians working on the farm as well. And one of the guys was actually a bit stressed at one point because he said if Romania gets called up to come and help, then he has to go back and he has to go join the army and all of that. And he was walking around the farm here looking very thin and very stressed because I mean, obviously, I think he's a oak of 20. I think he's 25, 26 years old. Obviously, he's never seen action in terms of that in his life, and I think it's in fact we've got a military base not far from us here, and you like on a daily basis in that first 2, 3, 4 weeks we'd hear choppers and airplanes and fucking jets going overhead, and there was I don't know how true it was, but there was some sort of news going around that if the UK sort of doesn't play along, then they'll drop some other fucking nuclear deterrent type bombs in the North Sea, and towards sort of down towards London, where they would basically cover the eastern side of the UK under fucking 40 feet of water. And like I said, I mean, I think we less than 10 kilometers away from the beachfront here. So it's, I mean, I can literally see the boats passing in the Humber here. So we're close to the water. So obviously if something like that happens, then I'm going to be fucking scuba diving. So it's interesting times. I honestly, I did not, I still can't believe that it's the year 2022. And we're still sitting with bullshit like this where, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
You would expect that we all learned from the past, but somehow we figure out a way to fuck it up all really bad.
Yeah.
And yeah. But sometimes also like with the whole Ukraine situation, it's really close to us, so it hits us. But it's happening everywhere in the world. Like you never hear in Europe, you never hear anything about Western Africa, but a lot of shit is going down. Yeah, but I hope. Yeah, no, maybe sensitive point, but I hope we learn something from this, and now it's so close to us. We can affiliate with the people further away that, struggling with the same shit like every day. But because it's like happening for years and years, the newspapers can't be bothered to write about it anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is sort of, it's, you've got that initial boom of information going around. That's obviously the thing that sells newspapers, but it has sort of quieted down now, and you don't really hear anything about it anymore. No. It's obviously still ongoing, but you don't hear anything on the news, and it's quieted down. But let's talk about something a bit more positive.
Not a lot of podcasts about the Ukraine.
Yeah, no, definitely. In all of these travels of yours, do you tend to like more of a camping backpackers type traveling situation, or do you like to do it in a more of a like a luxury type of way every now and again?
So yeah, I like to sleep in a good bed, obviously. I only did like camping in Europe and maybe a bit in New Zealand, but I'm not that experienced with camping on long trips. I always did like the hostel to hostel, but not per se that I need the luxury. It's just for me with meeting people. It's like at campsites, it's hard to meet a lot of people, so that's why I really like the backpackers. Yeah, but like in Africa, and also because I'm like traveling with my own transport. You suddenly can get to all these places where you normally couldn't go because you just booked a bus and you booked in the one city and you went to the next city, and now I can decide to just stop in the middle of nowhere and just pitch my tent. So I think I never had the opportunity as much as I have it right now.
I think it's the same as, like we said, I mean, you can drive to Cape Town on the N1 and do it quickly, and you get there, but you don't really see anything. Where if you do the whole camping thing, instead of staying in luxury hotels and stuff, if you stay at backpackers, you meet interesting people. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I like Orange Elephant so much in Addo, is obviously before the whole COVID thing hit. You'd go there on a Friday night or Saturday night, and you would meet people traveling from America. You'd meet French people. You'd meet Australians. You'd meet people from all walks of life. I mean, you'd actually very rarely sit there and talk to South Africans. Most of the time, we'd have a drink with foreigners and have a chat about sort of what goes on with their travels, and it's nice. It's interesting. It's not. It's sort of something a bit different.
Yeah, I think that's a bit different right now. Yeah, especially like the past 3 months. It's obviously low season in South Africa right now. We're still like in this post-COVID situation. So yeah, I think I'm at almost 50% South African, 50% German, because the Germans are everywhere. But yeah, it's actually pretty hard to meet travelers, and I'm in this overlander community, so sometimes you just meet up. Yeah, it's for me pretty hard right now to meet the other traveler. I hope it's gonna get better soon, because we're slowly going into season, so I'll be in season in the other countries. Well, yeah, so backpackers, I don't want to say they're disappointing right now, but I had this I saw backpackers like, oh yeah, then I'm gonna meet everybody just like the old days, but sometimes it was a bit disappointing. It's only like the big backpackers where everybody go, where you really meet the foreign people right now.
Yeah.
And like when there was an orange backpack,
it's winter
was like
now,
an orange.
So
yeah, exactly. And then like orange elephant, there was one other guy there who was there for work. For the rest, it was just Josh and his friends. So yeah, which was like a lot of fun.
But
I think it was 3 nights drunk straight.
Yeah, that's a good average for orange elephant. I think you really go there and go home sober. It's not it's not something that you go look for at OE. You go there for the great pizza and the brandy specials.
Yeah.
Martin, tell me, we touched on obviously the whole point of this trip that you're planning is not necessarily just about the trip, but it is about the experience of the whole thing, and it's about meeting people and all of this. Is there this might be a very broad question, but is there something specific that you are looking to gain out of this trip that you tackling now, in terms of like personal growth, or is there one specific thing that you wanna grow in yourself on this trip?
Yeah. So most of all, first I want to just clear my mind for a bit, because I had quite some hectic years, and I want to kind of reset a bit. Then I want to. So I always said it before, like the world is not such a bad place, but I want to see it again. I just want to live it again. Just there's so much shit talk about all these places in the world. Even like regional wise in South Africa, you say you go there and people are like, oh, you should watch out. People are gonna rob you, blah blah blah. I hope you have a gun with you or a knife. But it's also like in the Middle East, everybody sees the Middle East of just a bunch of terrorists, and it's unsafe over there. But of course, there are like a lot of incidents, but there is so much more. And I think 99% of the people are just great. And I just wanna meet them. I just wanna. I know it from the stories, but I just wanna experience myself. And that's one thing. That's what I want to gain. Yeah.
Have you got a camera with you, or are you just using your brand new iPhone?
So I had this very nice Sony camera with me, and then I went riding with a buddy of mine, and then I realized I didn't close my tank bag that well, and I lost my camera. But I do have like a GoPro on my helmet.
Okay.
And what I said in the beginning of the podcast, I ordered now the newest iPhone, and that makes pretty good photos as well. So let's hope that one survives.
It's obviously, I mean, you have to. It's one thing to experience this trip firsthand, but I think it's nice to sort of eternalize it in terms of videos and photos and all of that. And it's also it's nice doing this podcast with you, because we can sort of get a glimpse, and like I told you beforehand, my plan with this is to check in with you every month or two. If you're in a spot where you've got good access to internet and all of that, then we can do some follow-up episodes and hear what you got up to, and I think it'll also be nice for people listening to get sort of a glimpse into the rest of Africa and Asia and Australia and all of that. Have you thought of a way to monetize this trip of yours somehow?
So I use the like Instagram and Facebook, obviously, and I'm thinking about moving full time to the motorcycle business. Not like 100% sure which way. I'm affiliated with the luggage brand Turkana. It's quite a new brand. It's owned by 2 Dutch people and 3 South African people. And maybe gonna do some work for them. I'm looking like going into the motorcycle touring business. So I try to show as much what I do, just to get like a name, if that's like a little bit of answer to your question. And then I make a lot of videos, but I don't have the ambition to become like a big YouTuber or something, because I next to the sound stuff, I made like a lot of videos as well. I do some video mappings and stuff like that, and I know how much work it is. And what I said, I want to clear my mind as well on this trip. I just want to reset from everything. And if you I don't know if you like if you know Itchy Boots. It's a Dutch woman who is traveling around the world on a CRF 300 right now, and I think she does like 3 videos a week. That means you do 1 day of riding, 1 day of editing, 1 day of riding, 1 day of editing, 1 day of riding, 1 day of editing, and then maybe a day off. There is a lot of work, and that means also if you go for a ride, you can't just like sit there and enjoy it. Everything you see, you have to turn it into an event in your video. I don't want to do that. So I show what I do, and just by posting some pictures, and sometimes I do like the selfie video thing, tell about what I'm doing, but that's it. I just want to, hope I'll create a name through that way, and then I create a name through what I'm doing, and not because I'm creating it. And I think that's more real. So not saying like that like the motor vloggers are not real. They are fucking real. And but yeah,
it takes a lot of work. It's definitely, I mean, I've experienced the same with this bloody podcast, where it initially started as just something to pass time with. obviously you get into it and you wanna make it sound better, and you wanna work on this and you wanna tweak on this, and at the end of the day, I thought it was gonna be you do a 2-hour episode and you upload it and you're done, but I very quickly fucking realized that an episode takes me about bloody 12 hours from start to finish to set up and to do, and the bit of editing that I with my very limited knowledge can do afterwards before I post it, and then you have to actually get it out there, and it's obviously it's fun, but it is a lot of work, and I fully understand what you're saying. I mean, you don't want to after hard days fucking riding a motorbike the whole day, go and sit with a laptop and download stuff and edit stuff and do voiceovers and add music and blah 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 blah. It's, I mean, you wanna sit and enjoy the landscape, and
it also means indeed I have to bring a laptop. I have to bring like 4 hard disks and all this extra stuff, and that also means I have like even more worth of money stuff with me. So that also means like, am I too happy to sleep in a dorm while I have like so much stuff with me, so much expensive stuff? And now it's I have my phone, and sometimes people discover I have an iPad, but for the rest it's just stuff that's not worth anything to anybody. So it brings so much extra weight to a trip, and literally and not literally.
Yeah. Tell me, Martin, while you're on the bike, have you got earphones in? Are you listening to music or podcasts, or are you just...
Podcasts not possible for me because my helmet is quite noisy. But I'm listening to music a lot. But it's just random stuff that just plays in the background. Sometimes I put on if I want some energy, some shitty Dutch partying music. We have this music style, and it's called hardstyle. It's like very intense electronic music, but like with a happy tune to it. I just play that. It just listens way easy, and just I'm just being like really happy on my bike. But nothing like very specific. Podcasts are not doable for me, and it's not like I can listen to a nice composition of Bach or something. It's just like so. Yeah.
Is there any? Obviously, I mean, you've done a bit of traveling on the bike now. Is there any tips or tricks that you can give someone that's planning something likewise, that you've learned along the way that might save someone a bit of time or a bit of money?
Don't buy a KTM. No, this is a shitty joke. What would I advise people? Get your suspension done. Just don't go on Facebook, ask like, what kind of suspension do I need? Go to a suspension specialist with your stuff and tell them, I'm gonna do this and that. I'm gonna do like a good trip or whatever, and let them help you. That's a thing I would recommend, and try to save weight and get a bike that you enjoy. And that's like really, that's like a bike you enjoy can be like really broad. It can be like, I used to have a Triumph Street Triple, which is a really fun bike. If you open the throttles, everything in your body's like, yes. But now I have a CRF 250, and when I open the throttle, it's like, come on. But when I get to the gnarly stuff, it gets me to places I couldn't imagine I would go, which is a different way of enjoying a bike. So, and if you do a really big trip, go light. Go light. Don't be fooled with all the marketing of the Africa Twins and this the big beamers. It's just that if you get a big adventure bike, you're not like suddenly like this great dirt rider. So yeah, capable bikes, but in the capable hands. So yeah.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these things, it's like we said earlier, it's a lot about the jockey and not so much about the bike. I mean, you can have the best bike and the best equipment, but if you don't know how to use it, you're still going to end up on your arse at the end of the day. And then being a 2-wheel fucking motorbike, you're going to have to get it up again. So definitely it makes sense that you say if you're traveling alone, it's easier to go light.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
Well, Martin, thank you very much. This has been very interesting. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanna talk about.
Yeah, no.
Well, we'll save a bit for the next episode. But yeah, thank you very much for your time. This has been very interesting. Just tell me quickly where we did mention your handle for Instagram, but where can people find you online?
Overlander, no coriander.
Okay, that's on Instagram, right?
Yeah, that's on Instagram. Yeah, it's Instagram. I'm still debating if I'm going to open like a special Facebook page for it, but yeah, maybe coming soon. But yeah, or you can also go to martinbrons.nl, and you can see where I am actually, which route I've been taking, and I'm gonna post some stuff on there as well. I'm also posting on Instagram, and yeah, so you get like the story with the location.
Okay, yeah, that's very cool. Well, I'll post all of that in the description of the episode as well, so people can find you easily. And then we'll hopefully check back in with you in a few months' time and see where you are and what you've done. And
definitely.
All of the stories we'll hear from you then. But good luck with your trip. I hope it all goes well and according to plan. And then we'll check back in soon.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, man.
Okay. Cheers, buddy.
Cool.
Keep well.
Cheers. Well, you too. It's done, and you suddenly start. Oh. So when the beer is almost done, then suddenly it gets entertaining. I'm on beer number 8, and I just here have like half an hour left.
Okay, so this is a piece of the podcast that we might use. We don't know. Me and Martin just continued with the bands, and a bit of alcohol later, we decided to press record again. So this might just be an extra little piece of snippet at the end.
Yeah, but this is also something. Like I have the feeling like most of your podcasts with people you already know, but we had like a 1-minute conversation before, and we actually got to know each other after the podcast. So
it is difficult. I've had I think 2 episodes with people that I don't really know. But I think it is a bit different because they are from South Africa, they are Afrikaans. So I think it is a bit of a clicky thing. But this is I mean, we've, like you said now, I literally phoned you one night when you were in a backpacker somewhere. We had a quick chat about when we were going to do the podcast, and that was it.
Yeah. I was in Port St. John's at the point, I think, which is actually a really nice place. If there was like one of these places, I was like, oh, you go to Port St. John's. Port St. John's is fucking epic. It's very beautiful.
I don't think I've ever been there. I've not traveled a lot in the Eastern Cape. I've actually not. I've done most of my traveling, like the Western Cape, I know quite well. Eastern Cape a bit, but not sort of like not much further than Port Elizabeth. I've not gone much further north than Port Elizabeth. I think you might have traveled a bit more in South Africa than I have.
maybe. So you know what? The thing I find very funny with South Africans, or South African culture, ice is part of your drinking culture.
Oh, my man, definitely.
We in Netherlands, we don't drink ice. If I forgot to put my Coke in the fridge, I put 2 blocks of ice in my Coke, but that's it.
I cannot have it if I don't have ice. I'm not having a drink. I cannot drink. Doesn't matter if it's cold. If it's not, I need my drink to flow over ice and into my mouth. If I don't have ice, I'm uncomfortable.
You have an ice bucket next to you, don't you?
Yes, I do, but it's out of ice, so I'm going to need to get some ice. So, for anyone listening to this bullshit, Martin, give us an interesting story there. I'm gonna get some ice quickly.
It's pretty funny because he's now walking away. We're gonna have a little story about when I was in Vietnam. When I was in Vietnam, I already told like I didn't like the food too much, and I think he still has his microphone on while he's peeing, actually. But
I'm not peeing. I'm just getting ice.
Oh dear! Oh, you're getting. So when I was in Vietnam, I was riding Ho Chi Minh Trail, and while driving Ho Chi Minh Trail, I got like a massive breakdown. It's like fire was coming out of my exhaust, and then smoke, and then nothing was happening anymore. So we were like in the middle of nowhere. My bike got fixed. First, I had to transport my bike, and then after like a 1 hour transport, my bike got fixed. But then we were riding into the dark, and we had to stay with this family in the middle of fucking nowhere. And we were there, and we were looking for a restaurant. So we found a restaurant, and we had noodle soup this time with chicken and an egg.
Coriander?
And it was. There was a shit load of coriander, but I flipped it out of it. So, we had a chicken soup there, and I was biting into this egg, and this egg was tasting like fish. I can tell you guys, if you eat an egg that tastes like fish, it's not really good. So we got back to this shed where we were staying, and we were going to bed. And I said to my mate, who I was riding with at this point, his name was Haggai, and I said, Haggai, I'm not feeling good, man. My stomach, it's really bad. So I went out into the garden, and it was like at this point, it's like I just put my finger in the back of my throat because, it's coming, but it's not there yet. So, all right, then I got back, and then I felt my belly, my digestives, and so I went to the owner of this place, and I said, so we were talking about how do you communicate with people you don't speak the same language.
Yeah.
I had to explain to him I had to do a number 2. So I did like, me? That's what I did. So he was like, "Oh, all right." So he gave me like newspapers, and then we walked into the garden, and there was like there's like a few of these. We call them, wave plates or something, like plates. What, like in the townships, everything's made from that. It's like these plates that go like wavy. How do you call that?
It's a sangplate. Yeah. I think I know what you.
Yeah. So there were like 3 of them in the middle of the garden with a hole in the middle, and there was the toilet.
It's like tin. It's like a tin. Thing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it was pitch black dark at that point. So I put my beautiful Thai elephant pants down, and have quite a big poo there, and it was intense. So I was done, and I put my torch of my phone on, and I realized I shat all over my pants. So yeah, that happened.
Do you still have those pants? Did you just wash them?
No, I don't have them anymore. I took off those pants. My underpants were actually pretty saved. So I start wiping my butt with my newspapers. I luckily had like wet wipes with me. That's the thing. If you go travel to weird countries, take wet wipes. Definitely. So I got back to the house, left the elephant pants next to the toilet, and I was standing in front of the porch, screaming at my mate, who was listening music on his headphones. Guy. And like after 5 minutes, he finally heard me. I said, "Guy, I just shat all over my pants. In my bag, on the top of my bag, is my swimming pants. Please bring my swimming pants." But I had proper food poisoning at that moment, so I had to go to the bathroom every 20 minutes for like 2 hours or something. And then I finally fell asleep. And then like, I think it was 2:20, I woke up. I was feeling really good. I turned around, and when I was turning around, I felt everything moving in my belly. I was like, this is not good. So I ran out of the house. I went one step onto the porch, and everything came out. Everything just run down my legs. And I was running down the porch, and it was like shit all over the porch. I was running down the stairs, and there was like shit going over the flip-flops of the children of the people who were living there. And I ran 3 meters into the garden next to a tree, just pulled down my pants, and just had like this massive shit.
Very aggressive shit.
Yeah, it's like was it Men in Black when they were puking? There was like this big burst of puke around. No, that was my ass actually. So I had this huge shit there. I wiped myself with the newspapers first, then with the wet wipes. Then I wiped the flip flops of the children. Then I wiped the porch. But from that moment, everything came back. So I had to take a shit like every 20 minutes from that. But because I already had like this situation earlier this night, like there was shit everywhere in the bathroom, apart from in the hall where I had to shit. So from that point, I had to take like shits like different places in the garden.
To make sure that you don't step on your shit.
Yeah, I couldn't go to the bathroom anymore. So in the end of the story, we woke up 6 a.m. that morning, and I said to my mate, I shat everywhere where we go right now. And I think that's the first Vietnamese family who has H&M boxes and swimming pants.
I think me and my wife actually had a chat one night. We were sat here in the billy room, and we were just sitting here having random chats about shit, and I don't know how we got to the subject, but I told her like I think I do feel like every person has in their life shat their pants before, in grown up life, and I told her the story. I think I was in my first and my second year at college, and I think we had holidays, and I went back to Buffed West, the town that I grew up in, and it was
a weekend of heavy drinking.
Yeah.
And the Saturday night, we went to someone's house. We had a braai there. And me and one of the guys, I said, listen, you guys, I'm just nipping out to the garden. I just want to go take a piss. And as every male person knows that you can't have a proper piss without having a fart. You have to fart while having a piss. Then that piss is complete. And I just had too much brandy the night before, and I trusted that fart way too much, and I fucking shit my pants. But it was luckily it wasn't enough to run down my pant leg. It was just enough to that's uncomfortable. Now I'm standing outside going, what the fuck do I do now? And I just gave this bullshit excuse of, I think I left the oven on, or some other fucking, I can't remember what I said, but I gave some other excuse. I just quickly have to run home. And I went to my bakkie and I thought, well, shit, I can't sit in my bakkie now, because if I'm going to sit, I'm going to have shit on. Well, obviously I shit my pants now. So if I sit down, I'm going to have shit on my bakkie seat as well. So I sort of clenched the top end of my steering wheel, and I was, my left hand was underneath me. So I was hovering above my seat, trying to do the clutch and the petrol. Drove home, fuck knows how. Got home, just quickly took a shower. Dude, the story doesn't end here. Just quickly took a shower to get all the. I think I just threw away.
I'm happy the story doesn't end here.
Fucking got new pants. Went back to the party that I left so abruptly to go fucking switch off my oven. And I thought, well, okay, I got this out my system. I can't remember if I actually took a shit when I got home, but anyway, went back to the party, went back to the braai. Fucking half an hour later, I'm stood outside having a piss again, farted, shit my pants again. Luckily, now I knew exactly what to do in terms of driving back home, and I just decided, fuck it. I'm over this now, I'm done, I'm not going back. Just went home, had a very sad shower, and just sat. I still remember standing in the shower looking at two sets of pants that I just shat in. Thinking like, what the fuck, man? That was definitely, at that point, that was a low point in my life. Now looking back, it's just funny. I don't care. it's just...
Now I know why it's called the Kakpraat Chronicles.
But I do think that every fucking male, at least every male, has got a. I think everyone has shit their pants at some point.
It's not about me. I remember when I was in Myanmar. So I was traveling with two friends, one male, one female, and we were sitting in the bus, and she also got the shit, and like we were traveling in the middle of the night. We had to stop the whole bus because she had to have a shit in the middle of the bush. So yeah, it happens to everyone. It definitely happens to everyone. But I think it's like a cultural thing that we male people can talk about shit and women can't. Yeah.
Listen, yeah, but
yeah, makes good stories.
I wanna ask you now, seeing as we're recording again, we quickly touched on the braai thing earlier.
Yeah.
It's obviously I feel like I'm sitting fucking. There we go.
I think if people watch the video, it's like two totally different settings. So people are totally laid back.
I think what I'll do is I'll just put a bit at the start of the episode saying there is a bit of extra footage at the end if you wanna listen to it.
On the sober podcast and the less sober podcast. It was with your diver friend. It was exactly the same.
Oh, it was in on.
Yeah, it was exactly the same. It's like this this snap moment, then he was like, I want to, let's say, intoxicated.
I'll when we stop, I can't talk about it while we're recording. I'll tell you the whole story when we're done recording. But
That's cool.
There was some stuff that happened at one point that we weren't allowed to put out to the interwebs. So I had to cut out a bit, and unfortunately, there was about a 20-minute break, and in that 20 minutes, we just fucking hammered whiskey. I think with that episode with me and Zenon, we obviously I was sitting here, and he was in I think in Bazuri in Greece, and by the end of that episode, we had both finished a bottle of whiskey. So the last hour of that episode got fucking interesting. And it's still, to this day, it's one of my favorite episodes that I've done. We fucking went on about giraffes. Just being shitty fucking animals. It's
they were just like too average or something. I remember something like that.
So much fun. Cheers Zenon.
Yeah, man. There was a good laugh. I had a really shit flight to Istanbul from South Africa, and they got me through.
I must say that is Martin. That's the whole thing with this podcast is. I honestly, it's just for my enjoyment.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. If you don't enjoy, you can't make a proper thing out of it. It's stuff like this. It's a creative thing. It's all about passion. And if you don't have the passion, you can't produce shit.
Yeah, it's fun. That episode was fun. All my episodes are fun. I enjoy all of them. That's why I do them. And the one with Josh was also super fun. And we also ended up getting fucking mega drunk at the end. And I don't know. It always just it starts off very fucking formal and very professional, and then it tends to take a turn somewhere. But me and Zenon's one took a hell of a fucking turn at the end.
Maybe you should start every podcast with a drinking game or something.
I've got one planned with Josh where we do a drinking game. I don't know if you guys have ever played this. So we used to do it in South Africa called the 100-shot challenge, where you drink beer, but you drink it in shots. So you have a shot every minute.
Yeah. I actually heard about it like last week or so, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so we want to do a power hour where you do a shot every hour, but you just do a shot of beer, and then you basically just drink. I think it's about 8 beers in an hour, but you drink it through shots.
Yeah,
and it makes it a bit fun. And what I want to do is just do it like a bar quiz type thing where just you set a timer, you have a shot of beer, minute later shot of beer, minute later shot of beer, and in between you have just bar trivia, just random fucking bullshit for someone to listen to. Like you said, if you're on a flight somewhere or just sitting at home bored, fucking listen to it, whatever. So we are planning something like that.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
But
I would like to join, actually.
We can always make a plan. I can add up to, I think, 6 people on these chats, so we can make a plan. But this is what I would my dream for this fucking podcast is. I would love for people to, as we said earlier, to sit and watch this, have a drink while you're watching it, and sort of almost feel part of the conversation. if we fucking say cheers, have a drink, fucking blah blah blah, just be part of the conversation. Because I love podcasts. I consume podcasts like a fucking dinosaur, my man.
I think podcasts only work when you like feel affiliated with the people who are having the podcast. You know, you wanna feel like, oh yeah, that could have been me or something. You know.
And what I must say, what I like about, I've said on previous episodes of mine, I've said that I listen to, like in a working week, I listen to about 8 to 10 to 12 hours of podcasts every day. Yeah. I consume podcasts. I love it. And I jump around between Joe Rogan, who's got obviously the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and then Two Bears, One Cave, which is Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. And then I'm on to, so Bert Kreischer's got his own podcast called The Birdcast. What I enjoy is you get to experience a small bit of someone else's life, like someone listening to this that's now getting insight into your life. And I try to speak to people that are just run-of-the-mill people, but have done something interesting, or just interesting people, where it's like the previous guy that I spoke to, Orville the Heat Robertson. Fucking love that guy, Smokey Smokes. So Smokey is a photographer for sort of like the automotive industry. He takes pictures of cars in like these stance cars, those flat to the ground cars. And it's so bloody interesting when you get into it. But it is there's probably 1,000 people that know him that doesn't really know what he does. And I would just love for people to just listen to it and fucking get into someone else's life for 2 hours and but
there's so many. So you cross so many people. You know, I mean, every person has a story, but you only touch like the surface of it. Also, like when people meet me, it's like, oh yeah, Martin, he likes bike riding, and some people know I travel by bike, and but also like we record a bit and then we talk like quite a bit without recording, and there's always so much more. And the same with you. It's like you just, it's not like, oh yeah, I moved to the UK and now I'm farming there. There is so much more, and so much more background.
You see, the thing is, it's always difficult to manage these episodes, because I do understand that not everyone has the time that I have to listen to podcasts. So I can't make a podcast that's 6 hours long, because no one's going to listen to that. But if someone can just ingest that 2 hours, then it's fine. But you can't get, if you listen to a radio interview, if someone has you on the radio, then they're going to do an interview that's 15 minutes long, and they're going to go, oh, Martin, you're doing this trip to Africa. Yeah, I'm doing Cape Town to Egypt to Asia to Australia. Oh, good. How are you doing it? No, on a bike. Okay, well, we wish you luck. All the best, and then it's done. You can't get into it. And what I want to do is I want to get into it. I like these long form discussions, because then people can get to know you. And like I said, it's just for me to have fun. I fucking just want to get to know you, and it's for me to spend a bit of time and to find something interesting and spend bit of time just scratching in your life and finding out a bit more.
Yeah. I'm freaking hungry, actually. So I'm trying to eat crisps like as silent as possible.
No, you can't do that silent. I see you moving back. We can still hear you with your para shirt.
Yeah. So I'm staying with my mother at the moment, and she and my sister had a great idea to eat a salad today, but it's not like the best base to record a podcast and then start drinking at the same time. So.
Well, I think Mart, we on what 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you something before we finish this off. You said you had a bit of braai experience while you were in South Africa.
Here we go again.
You did touch on you tried it beforehand and you made a mega fire and you flame grilled some stuff there. I want to ask you, as an outsider coming to South Africa and being thrust upon this braai culture of, like we said, you don't go to a braai hungry because you're not going to eat in the fucking foreseeable future. And there's a lot of alcohol being consumed most of the time, and it's a whole day thing. What was your experience like? Your first proper braai in South Africa? If you can just give us a bit of insight there.
How was my first braai? So what you said, like that you don't get to braai hungry. That is something I realized later, after I've been hungry at some braais. Like the first time I had like a proper braai with other people, I felt like offended because I couldn't keep the fire going in the right way. And so I was just like, oh, Martin, you take care of the fire. Okay, so I put wood on it and I started drinking beer again. That's how we maintain the fire in the Netherlands. Like, oh shit, it's going off. It's going out again. So we put on more wood. But in South Africa, you have to just keep on getting this fire going. It has to say, like, it has to burn the same pace all the time to get like the good calls. So that was one of the first things, and then just having a braai with Josh and just standing there, what the fuck? When are we gonna eat? When are we gonna eat? I was so freaking hungry. We went to the supermarket, and also because there's so much meat consumed in South Africa, you buy everything frozen because it's not possible to do everything fresh. So first we had to defreeze everything next to the fire. That already took like 2 hours. I was already hungry when we were doing groceries. And at the same point, like I forgot his name, but the bartender at the OE's, Mike, yeah, a fucking legend. But he was on it, and I knew what I was drinking. So every time when it was like this bit, so for the people listening, like 3 mils of beer left, he was already standing there with the next one.
Yeah.
So I was getting drunk and more drunk and more drunk because I had this empty stomach and just waiting to start braaiing. And Josh, he was a lovely guy, but so you have like this moment you have to wait for Brian, but Josh is doing like 72 things at the same time. So you even braai a bit later than you expect as a South African person, I guess. And then I learned.
I can tell you this, when I moved to the farm, so I'm also very like we said earlier, you said you're a very social person. I'm also a very social person. I enjoy having people around me. Listen here, you don't have to move all the way back to eat your chips. You can sit and eat your chips. Everyone, there we go, a bit of ASMR there. I'm also very sociable, and my problem with braaiing early is I always feel like if you eat early, then everyone's sort of tired after eating, and then everyone's going to go home. So I've got this thing where you keep the party going the whole time, and you braai as late as possible so that you have people around you as late as possible.
Yeah, we just eat and then get drunk.
So we don't do that. But the first few people that I had round on the farm realized that I tend to not braai at all. We would just tend to the fire, just put more wood, and then it would get to 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then we'll go, oh, fuck it, we're not going to braai now. And then we'll just,
Was it you who was like single and would invite everyone for a braai, but like most of the nights there was like no food at all?
When my wife moved to the farm, obviously we weren't married back then. She very quickly realized that if she doesn't braai, then we're not gonna braai. So I think she moved in with me in I think January, February that year. I can't remember what year it was, but I think probably 2019. I think it was 2019. And we had people over, and then for the first like 3 or 4 braais that we had, we didn't actually cook any food. We just had people over to make fire, and then she would get pissed off, and I wouldn't really care. It's fine. My wife doesn't listen to the podcast, so it's fine.
Oh, that's nice.
Kind of. And then she just realized that if she doesn't braai, then no one's going to braai. And then at some stage, I realized that I'm starting to feel like less of a man because my wife's braaiing and I'm not braaiing. So we got round of it. But my friends started to pitch up for braai and not bringing anything, and we also wouldn't. It's just we call it just a kuier. It's just a kuier in Afrikaans. It's just like it's just a party. You don't eat. Yeah. It's just the. But I think it's because the fire in South Africa in the South African culture is a big thing. Just the fire as is. It's obviously nice to eat something, but the fire is a big thing. But we're talking a lot of bullshit now.
There's one thing I want to say about braaiing as well. I don't know if it was just the people I met, but for us, like we always compare braaiing with barbecuing, but I was staying with his family. We're like, we're gonna have a braai, and then they started making the potjie.
Oh
yeah, and that's also, at least for them, it was like also like a part of braaiing, making a potjie. How was that for you?
Oh, sorry. Potjie is nice because potjie is also a thing that can take the whole day. You can do it in 2 hours, but you can do it in 7 hours. So potjie is nice. You make your fire at like 9 o'clock in the morning. If you've got some proper coals going, you put your potjie on, you get your onions involved, and you get a bit of fucking flavor in there, and you get your meat in there, and then you let that simmer, and you pour a bit of beer in there, and later on you pour a bit of brandy in there. So whenever you need a bit of moisture in the potjie, then you just whatever you're drinking, you pour in there. Josh will get very angry listening to this because he's very very one line with his potjie in terms of he's very rigid with rules. Me, not so much. I feel like the more love you add, the better it tastes. So a potjie is a nice thing. Like I said, you can finish it in 2 hours, or you can never finish it and just have it tomorrow morning.
Right.
Martin, this has been nice.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed
definitely.
This is another 30 odd minutes that we can add on there for a special bit at the end. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this. I'm going to put this on the end, but I'm going to say at the start of the podcast, I'm going to say, listen, guys, there's a bit of flair there at the end, a bit of extra bit of bullshit. Extra bit of kakpraat. How did you put it, Nana? When you said you actually interviewing me now?
Well, we swapped it around, or what do you mean?
Yeah, when we swapped it around, you gave it another name. The poop what?
The Poepraat Chronicles, because we were talking about kak. We were talking about poop.
Okay, so there we go. This is the, but I can't say it with your accent. The poep praat.
Don't you say poop in Afrikaans?
No, you do say poep, but I can't say the praat as you say the praat.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Poepraat Chronicles.
There we go. I'll definitely use that. But listen, Mart, this has been great. I've had so much fun.
It was good. Yeah, me too.
Fuck, I'm gonna enjoy the next one. Okay, buddy.
So how late is your one tomorrow morning?
9 o'clock.
It's not too bad.
No, it's not that bad. No, I'll definitely have a drink again tomorrow morning. The listeners don't have to know that it's morning.
That's good. Okay, cool. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.